Hello everybody, and welcome to webinar 5. I can't believe that we're up to number 5 already, and today we're going to have a look at images basically. It's going to be a fairly relaxed and light affair, I hope, this one. We will be looking at the very basics of image uploading using the standard upload action. We'll be looking at using the Dropzone and multiple images via Dropzone. I then want to just have a run through all of the various filters that we have within the upload action. I don't think anybody's really delved into those and shown what those will do, and then I think that will probably about bring us to the end of the session for this week. Fairly flexible where we stop in terms of the content. I'll be looking to try and make it about on the hour, and then next week we'll be doing the more complicated things of storage image details into databases, binding that information to various users, and presenting them in the form of swiper, masonry, or slideshows. So let's make a very basic start. I'm going to create a page, and we'll be doing everything within that one page. So I'm going to create a PHP page as I normally do. Say all the frameworks have been automatically added because we'd set them within the project, and I'm just going to save that as image uploader. Okay, whoop, hang on a moment, I've just got to unlock that FTP. We seem to have a problem with the FTP being locked. Give me 1 second, I'll just pop into the control panel. While I'm doing that, I'll just cover a couple of other bits and bobs that we need to look at. What we're aiming towards eventually is to have the contact and management system that we have linked to the images that we're going to be uploaded. So effectively we create like a little personnel system, and then from there we can add those images to it. So just check a save. That's it. Great. Sorry, I thought I'd already done that. Little technical hitch straight away. What more could we want for? So we're going to start with a basic page. I'm going to drop a container in there, a row and a column. I'm hopeful we've got a little bit more time this week than normal. Normally I have to really rattle through these. I can't concern myself with presentations, but I'm just going to spend a little bit of time this week just trying to get it at least look half decent. So that container, let's just give it a little bit of a border, shall we? So a border all round. We'll have it rounded on all corners, just a small border, and we'll make it red. Those of you who notice those blue lines, they are just guidelines within Wappler itself. They won't be there in the final page as we load it. And just give it a quick title. I'll not bother with the meta tags, but I'll just quick reminder for people who forgot, or people who couldn't join me earlier. Don't forget you have all of the general meta tags of descriptions, keywords, canonical, all your open graph stuff for Facebook, your Twitter, and then you've got the mobile specific ones which can apply to both Android and iOS, and of course search engine robots. So we really should be getting in the habit of inputting the settings within them just to get yourself right up as high as you can within those all important Google rankings. So we're going to create an upload form. So obviously we're going to need a form first. I'm just going to do a very basic upload first, and we'll build from there. So let's go into our forms, and I'm going to straight away just show you something that you need to be aware of from day one. If any of the Wappler team are on, they could perhaps tell me if this was intentional or an oversight. If we do a horizontal file input form group, and look at the upload, the horizontal one does not offer the ability to be able to convert to a drop zone, where if I take the standard one, the vertical one, form input, you'll see there was a make drop zone button there. So if you find it going through a tutorial and suddenly you find that the make drop zone isn't there, then the reason is that there's that quirk between the two different types of input field. So there we've got a basic file upload. I'm then going to add the all important submit button at the end, and we'll call that upload. And let's give it a bit of color so we can actually see what we're doing, and that's going to be a submit button. And last of all, let's just give that a name. I'm going to call that files 1. Yep. And a primary, because I'm trying to align it with tutorials that are already there, and it might make people able to follow things a little bit easier. So I'm just going to give a quick save on there. So really we have all we need now. We've got an upload form, we've got a button which will fire off that form. I'll just give it a little bit of space at the bottom there. What we need now is a server action to go with it. So I'm off over to server actions. Let's just create a new one. Is that an old one? I'll just reuse that one there. I'm just going to rename that to uploader. Okay, so first thing what we're going to do, we need to have the details of that form, so might as well use Wappler to do the hard work for us. Image uploader. Within that is a form 1, import the images, and you'll see now that we've got files pulled over. You'll notice that it's automatically recognized that the file type is file, and it's linked to the input that we originally set up. Now let's just pop over and actually process that upload, and I'm going to do it at the very most basic level that we possibly could at this stage, and then I'm just going to slowly build on what we've done, and we're going to do a file upload. We're going to get the details of that from that post variable, and I'm just going to create a path called uploads. Template I'm going to use, just mouse over that will indicate how to show you. I'm just going to use a name and extension template, so you can see we have name and extension, so I'm going to use exactly that. So that will give the file that is saved basically the same name and extension that has been given through the action. Notice there's you can add underbar n underneath, and that will effectively append a count after it, so you'd have image 1, image 2, image 3 with each subsequent upload. Or alternatively you can use the GUID, that's your general unique ID, and it will give it a random unique number rather than the name. And in some places you might not want to pass over the file names, because people who don't know about systems can produce some pretty horrendous file names with loads of spaces in, you name it. We're going to take out those spaces as a minimum, because spaces and web stuff doesn't really get on very well, and I'm just going to make it an overwrite as well, so we can not just keep rolling over different things. And I want to output that. Save that. And basically we have now that basic file download, or file upload completed. Everybody okay? Well, now everybody following that okay? I'm just going to stick a set value in there, and it's primarily just to show you what's going on at this time. I want to call it image name. Oop. And that's really what I wanted to show you, the fact that that file upload returns details of the upload within the server bindings picker. And you can see there that we've got the file upload name there. So let's just select that and output that. What I'll do is that will pass the name of the file back to AppConnect at the end of the process. So let's save that. We're pretty much there now. We've obviously got to link that form. I made that server connect form and select our actions. That, as it stands, should do the file upload. However, at the moment, let's bear in mind that we aren't actually going to see the image. So, seeing is believing. We need to be able to see that image. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop another row and column below there. I'm going to drop an image into there, and I'm going to give that image a dynamic attribute, and that image is going to be remember we used the directory uploads, so our image source should be our image name prefixed by uploads. I could do this with a data picker, but I'll just do it quickly this way. So we've got uploads, we've got connection error there. I'll just have a look and see. That's just because that image isn't yet available. So okay, I'm just going to check there that we've got the logic. That image now is going to pick from the uploads folder the name of that image that is returned. And we also need to do some just confirmation and error actions, because it really does help us know what on earth's going on, particularly when things go wrong. So let's just put that notifications in that we use all the time, so that in form success, we're just going to have a notification success message, and we're just going to say uploaded. And in the event of things going wrong, and I'm pretty sure at some point we'll do something wrong, or I'll do something wrong, because it tends to happen that way. So we need to know there is an error, so we'll just have a confirmation message that something has gone wrong. Save that. Right, I'm just going to quickly check through my logic. We've got our upload button, or our file chooser. We've got our upload button. We've got a row underneath that would show the image when it's uploaded. When we are uploading it, it's going to go over to the server connect side. We're passing the files over. It's going to upload it. It's going to pass us that file name back, which is going to be displayed in here. And if on success or error we'll get a message, the only thing I might suggest is that we probably should add a form reset in at the end of that as well, just to clear the form. Let's see what happens when we hit the button, shall we? And the answer is not a lot, because it's opened on another monitor. So there's our very basic form. We're obviously showing an image break there because that image hasn't yet been opened. I'm going to choose file. Loaded a few images to play about with. We'll pick my little guilty pleasure. Christina Aguilera. We'll hit upload, and there we see we've got a confirmation that's been uploaded. That file is now on the server, and if we look at the image address, just to confirm, you can see that is in the datalogistics.uk uploads, and then the file name as we wanted it. So yeah, that was pretty simple, wasn't it? But obviously we've done absolutely no processing, scaling or whatever of that image, and we're only uploading a single image. So we've got to look at how, first of all, we can that's to say, it's my little guilty pleasure, Christina Aguilera. I'm old enough to be a grandfather nearly, but I just think she's wonderful. So anyway, back to the tutorial, if I can concentrate on it now. In fact, I'm going to refresh that page so I don't get distracted. Let's look at a little bit of scaling of images first, shall we? So back in the Wappler, remember we've got that image upload. What we need to do now is to effectively load that image into Wappler, process it, save it back out again, and look at our result. So we go into image processor, load image, and where are we going to get that image path from? No, we're not going to type in an image path. What we're actually going to do is go into the data picker, and we're going to choose this item here. That is the path that is where the file is loaded to. Little note on auto orient there. Not a one that I use a lot, I'll be honest, but it uses the EXIF information embedded within the image, if there is any, to try and work out which way up the image should be or not. I think there's a few issues in relation to iPhone images on that one, if I recall correctly. I'm not an iPhone user, so I can't be certain, but I seem to remember somebody mentioning problems with that on the forum last year. So if it doesn't work, just be aware that it's not Wappler's fault or the software's fault. It's probably down to the embedded EXIF information in the file being incorrect. So we'll load the image, we're going to process it, and we're going to process it to a particular size. And let's say we want it no wider than 250, and if we leave that at auto, that will then scale it within proportion. Upscale, well, I tend to tick that as regardless, because if you don't know exactly where the images are coming from, you don't know what size they're going to be, and if you try and scale an image smaller than it is without upscale, you will generate an error. By upscaling, if your image was only 120 wide, it will actually increase the size rather than decrease the size. And then lastly, we're going to have to obviously to be able to save that. So then I'm going to save that image, and this time I'm going to put overwrite, and we'll see that later because I don't want to keep building up lots and lots of different files. We're going to be in uploads, and I'm going to have processed. So we're putting that processed image in a slightly different place to the one that we uploaded. So effectively we have two images. We have the original image showing in uploads and the secondary image showed within processed. Save that. Fingers crossed all will go well. Let's just see how that one goes. Let's choose our file. I'm sure we've got some ladies there, so we'll have a picture for any ladies watching. Upload, and there we are. We've got George uploaded, but we should now have a second image within that processed folder that we're not actually displaying. So what I want to do is to whack another column into there. Sorry, that's my Northeast Geordie English accent expression type thing coming through. Whack something in just means put it. Let's put an image in there, and in this case, dynamic attributes images image source will be, as we saw before, that image name, but in this case it's going to be prefixed with uploads processed. I'm sure my fingers are dyslexic. My typing gets worse as I get older. Processed. Let's not forget the following slash on that. We seem to be now missing a brace at the front of that. So I've got uploads, processed, and then we've got our file name. And what that should do now is allow the second image to be displayed as well. So let's try it again. Choose a file, just randomly pick anybody on this one, click upload, and now we see we've got the original image here, which is as sized by the original upload, and this one here has been sized to be a width of 250 pixels. And I'll just show you the image address on that one just to prove that it is in a different place. That's uploads processed image to JPEG. So that just shows the basic effects we can do with image uploads. Right, so rather than labour now with lots and lots of image upload stuff, actually no, well, let's have a play about with the different effects that we can impose on those images now, because there are just so many different effects that you can add as an automatic feature that it's worth running through them. So we'll just spend 5 minutes on them, I think. So I'm going to take the resize out, just because I don't want to do everything in once. Put the image processor in, and what we'll see is that we actually have quite a few different effects here. Watermarks, text to image, rotations if you want to, smoothing and blurring, sharpening, embossing, invert, which looks like, I don't know what, depending on the country you're from, you may or may not know what Doctor Who is. Invert effect looks like a Dalek has exterminated somebody. It has that solarized effect. So let's just pick a simple grayscale. So all that's going to do is going to load that image in, it's going to grayscale it and then save it back out again. Let's have a little look. A little guilty pleasure girl again. Whoa, that was a big original image. So that shows that really I need to do something about the size of that image, doesn't it? Now, I would never recommend anybody does this in a production environment, but as this is just a demo, I'm going to limit the width of that image to 250 pixels. So we're taking a large image, squashing it on screen. We should really be scaling it within Server Connect here, but with that particular one does display original images, so we have no control over the size of that one. So if we go back into our upload, let's try that one again. You see we've got the original one, which is pushed force to 250. I really should do that with that one as well. And you can see that image has been changed to grayscale. I'll just pop a 250 width maximum on that one as well for the moment. Everybody okay up till now? Let's just have a quick look at a few of those other effects before we move on. Sepia is great because that makes it look like it's an old photograph. We just save that one. Open in browser. Let's pick that one out. You see how this one, you've got this sort of brown old negative effect, as if it's a faded old photograph from 100 years ago. And it's an effect that I really like. In fact, I did a musician's website some years ago, and I put this feature in, albeit obviously not through Wappler, through a completely different system, and they ended up putting every photograph on the site that they uploaded in the sepia tone, which is very nice, but I think it got a little bit too much at one point. but it's a really, really brilliant effect. Take that one out. Let's just look at, I want to show you how watermarking works, because it's a little bit confusing till you've tried to do it, because you have a watermark image which effectively overlays a image you already have over the top of it. Text to image takes a text that then converts that into an image, and then it overlays that image in. So we start with a watermark image. Let's find an image. I think with a bit of luck I'll have one on here that we can use. Yep, it's just from a site that I've been doing. We save that. If we fire that one up now, let's pick a random picture. Oh, we have an error. Let's see what we've got there. We have a path issue with that one. Yeah, we would have to realize that that image is not actually in our website path at all, so it's trying to pull it off my local hard drive, so that wouldn't work. So I choose a file that the watermark has to be on your site as such, rather than it being a separate file. Never thought of that one. I need basically to add it into the asset manager, and then I'll be able, I'm just going to watermark it with that, if it will allow me. It's an interesting one, because I'm not quite sure how we're going to, we would have to upload this as well, the watermark, at the same time to be able to get that image available, unless anybody's going to correct me on that one, which I haven't done, and I'm not going to mess about with at this stage. So basically we'd have to have a load image for the watermark image as well, and then we'd have to overlay that watermark image over the image. So we'd have a load and a load, and we would then be able to pick the image from here. Instead I'll show you the text to image, which is the alternative method of doing it. You can pick a font. Let's pick any old font. Let's save that. So what we should now have is the image that we got should have the word watermark overlaid over it as a watermark. There we see. There, it's possibly not that clear on your systems, but there is the word watermark in the middle there. And you can obviously set where that watermark is, in terms of you can have it in pixels or center, left, right, etc. And you can also change it. So I'm just going to change that to 90 so you can see it better. Let's open that up in the browser again. Let's randomly pick a picture. Let's upload that. You can see there more clearly the word watermark is sat over the top. Right, I've got somebody saying no sound. Is anybody else having a problem with sound? Chuck Jacobs, I assume if there was a sound problem, then I'm just going to got somebody, Chuck Jacobs, who's telling us that they've got no sound coming through. I'll wait for them to come back to me. Okay, what else? I think it's about time now for us to look at the multi-file loading. I'm just going to take these that step out there for the moment. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to convert this into yeah, I've got to use a Chuck Jacobs here, who's everybody else seems to be hearing other than him. If anybody can maybe try and have a quick chat with him and chat while I'm doing this and find out exactly what the problem was, I would appreciate it. Okay, so we're going back to our image upload, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make that into a drop zone. And by default, it's drop zone for multiple files. You need to mark as multiple, and you notice there that's actually 2 square brackets after the name files 1. What that does is it tells us that this is not just a single item that's being sent, but that square bracket indicates that it will be array, i.e. a list of different files. And that should be all we actually need to do to convert that very simple file upload into a complete drop zone and also a multiple file load. Not quite as simple over at the server connect end, but you know what, not massively more difficult. I'm just going to save that. Just going to re-import that back in, so we make sure that we've got the linked file to files square bracket, and it's ticked as multiple. But now if you think about database connections and things like that, what we now know is that within Wappler, if you want to deal with a list of things, multiple items, then the way to access them is through a repeat. So what we need to do is we need to set up a repeat. So basically what we're going to be saying is repeat through that file upload list of files, and then we're going to tell it the actions that should be happening within that. So within our core actions, we're going to pick a repeat, and the expression for that repeat is going to be that file upload. And I'm just going to pop a couple of output fields on there. We'll name and path just in case we need them at another time. We're now going to need a step in here, and all I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drag those steps that we had before into there. Then we need one small change. Make sure that we've got the file upload set correct, because now we'll see that, remember we picked up the path within that file upload step. Now we need to pick it up within the repeat, because each one will have a slightly different, we'll say path, but bear in mind the path also contains the file name as well. So we need to adjust that property at the same time. Other than that, we shouldn't need to change anything else. So let's save that. I think we've done everything that we need to do. Best way to check it is to run it, see if we get any errors, just in case I've forgotten something. I'm just going to pick a few images. You'll see that we have those images now shown as thumbnails. We see the size, we see their names, and we have the ability to remove them by clicking in the remove. And if I've got everything right, if we click upload, we can see those have been uploaded. The fact they are not displayed doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't expect them to be displayed, because of course we're now dealing with the multiple images rather than just a single image, which means that the display needs to cope with those multiple images. So how are we going to do that? In the usual Wappler fashion, without any great problems. So let's go to our display section here, and in this case we've got a row, and what I want to do now is to repeat that row depending on the data that has been loaded. So that repeat, we're going to repeat on the, sorry, just popping that ID in there. That repeat needs to repeat on the expression that is being returned, the data repeat 1. So just to explain so you're aware, I'll go through this because I don't need to hurry today. The form returns data when it's submitted. We have the upload of the original upload, and then we have the repeat. That basically shows us that that's an array, and we've got all of the fields appropriately returned. So let's select that. Unique ID we can just set as the key, let's say, and that should now allow us to repeat through that row and show all of those images. And then we're going to have to just change those dynamic images to similarly the repeats. Right, I'm just waiting for the first person to spot a mistake, because I've gone now for 37 minutes or thereabouts without a single mistake. So tempted fate now. Let's just see what happens when we try that out again. Amazing, it's worked. So we have the repeating image. We obviously have, no, we have a problem here because we're showing the first image within the row on each occasion. So clearly the processed images are correct, but the initial images are wrong. So we got the path set wrong for that one. Let's have a quick look and see why. Let's just put that back in. Data. Oh, hang on a minute. That's because we should really be doing it in that row. That's near. Right, we'll try that again. Now we've got a broken link there. See, I told you as soon as I said no errors we would have a problem. That one is just doesn't have the path in front of it, so we've obviously accidentally managed to remove the path. Yes, we have. That should be uploads. Name. Yes, caps lock, love it. And again, notice I'm not actually using the drop zone as a drop zone at the moment. I'll show how that works in a minute, but there we are, finally working fine. Original image, processed image, And just to prove that that is working, I'm just going to add a bit of processing in there, image processor, and I'm just going to grayscale that. So that first image now should show as the standard image, and that second image should show as a grayscale. There we are. That's interesting. Why is it not done the last one? Well, that's very interesting. I have never ever seen that happen before. I have absolutely no idea why it hasn't done that last, grayscaled that last one. I'm sure there'll be a technical reason. It's probably something to do with a corrupted image. Could even be a cache, yeah. Actually, what we'll do is I'll open Developers Tools, because I've got the set where in Developers Tool images aren't cached at all. And let's just pick some, upload that, and yeah, it looks like we're right. That was just simply a cache issue where it was serving up an old image from the cache. Right, so just to see where we are, we've now got multiple image uploading. We've seen all of the image processing. Let's now add a progress bar in. Very, very simple to do. We're just going to go into the form and we're going to add after the progress. So we're going to give the progress bar, we'll just leave it as default color in the background, and then we will give the, I'm going to give it a 0 width because we're going to set that dynamically. I'm going to make it striped and animated. So what we need to do is to set that width programmatically based on how far through the server is in processing the upload action. And it's actually very simple to do, because what we're going to do is we're going to go into attributes, styling, style. We're going to set up a style called width, and that is obviously going to be the width of that progress bar. And then our value is going to be upload progress %. Very easy to forget something here. If you think about CSS, when you're setting a width of something in %, it does actually need a % sign at the end of it. So if we just send it 50, that's not going to do anything because it needs that % sign at the end of it. So we actually need to force that % sign at the end. So this would return something like 50%. Okay, so that set the amount the progress bar is going to be set at. However, we also need to make sure that it only shows it while we are actually uploading. And again, that's very simple to do. We're going to go into dynamic attributes of the progress bar itself. We're going to go display, and we're going to show it when the state is executing. So when that upload action is actually executing, that will show. Otherwise, hopefully it should be hidden. I think I've got everything there. Let's give it a little try. It's always the best way of checking whether you've missed something. Pick some files. I will actually use a Dropzone as a Dropzone soon, I promise. Click upload, and you saw kind of fast servers these, unfortunately, but if you looked you would see progress. So I'll just add everything in this time. If you watch along here, you'll see the progress bar along the bottom showing the progress of the upload. Really simple to do, tells the user what's happening. If you're using big images, then it's really important. Or if you're using a lot of images, just on a mention of images, because again some people fall foul of this, just remember that there is a setting on your servers in relation to what the maximum upload is that is allowed. And some certainly shared platform servers, that's pretty low. That can be in the region of maybe 6 or 8 megabytes, which means that only 1 or 2 images can be enough to make that upload fail. Those who've got control of it, you can increase that image upload and do it in terms of roughly what sort of size images are going to be uploaded and how long going to take, and try and set that so it's a reasonable level for what they're going to be doing. There is also an option within the upload itself. Dynamic attributes, I think. I can't remember. It's anybody can remind me rather than me fumbling around looking for it. There is a setting within the Dropzone to set a maximum. It's probably actually when I think about in the validation rules, files. Yep. You can set whether there's a minimum number of files or a maximum number of files. You can also set your maximum file sizes or a total maximum file size, total numbers. So you can pretty well enforce making sure that people don't try to load 200, 12 megabyte ultra high resolution images. You can set those limits within your App Connect settings. And it's fairly straightforward to do. Let's say maximum files in this case no more than 10, and that means if we try and load 10 files, more than 10 files, we should get an error. Let's give it a try. That's certainly more than 10. Upload. Okay, make a liar out of me, I don't care. Right, well, I'll say should. I'm not going to fight with that. It's possibly because I need to enforce that validation at server level as well. But as that was a bit of an aside, I think that's a great one for you to go and play with, guys. Good question. Has it only uploaded 10? No, I know I've made this work before, and I'm pretty sure that it gives you an error message through the validation saying no more than 10 images. I suppose I could very quickly have a look and see what we've got in here. Just to answer that question, I'm just opened up File Manager there, uploads, processed, and I'm just going to it's going to take me an age. No, it's not going to take me age because I'll just delete the whole directory. So there's nothing in there now. Let's see what happens if we try and load in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 9. Certainly more than 10 there. Let's hit upload. If I now just call up the uploads folder and give it a quick refresh, processed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, correct, it has, although we've given it, I think it was 14 images to upload. It has only uploaded the first 10. And I suspect that's simply because we haven't enforced that validation at server level. Had we enforced that at server level, then the server would have rejected it. What we like time-wise, yeah, I think we've got time to give that a try. I hate to leave things unresolved. So let's just delete that out, and then let's re-import those globals. We now have a validation on there. Let's save that server connection. Let's see what happens if we have that validation at server level. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, that's I'm not quite sure what's happening there, folks, so I'm not going to mess about. I'll have to. So you set a limit of 10. It only uploads the top 10, but at the moment I'm not seeing an error message coming back. So I'm not going to waste time looking at that. I don't know whether that's a bug or whether it's probably more likely I've missed something obvious along with the rest of it or everybody else. But let's leave that for the moment. So right, we've got now everything that we sort of planned to start with. I'm just going to show you the Dropzone in action. This is incredibly useful, as you will know, for people with multiple monitors. A little bit more fiddly for people with single monitors. I'm just going to drop that Dropzone in there. And then I'm going to open my file manager. And I'm going to open up that folder with those tutorial images. I'm just going to drag this on the screen a second. Right, so how does Dropzone work? Brilliantly, I think, is the answer to that one. Let's say I want to upload those images. So I highlight the images I want. All I need to do is drop them over there. And that's it. Click the upload. And there we are. Those images are uploaded automatically. Massive, massive time saver for people who are uploading large amounts of images. But I want to show you one other little trick as well that some may or may not be aware of. And this doesn't work with Google Chrome for some bizarre reason. Google Chrome throws up an error. So I'm just going to pop up Firefox, which is my second preference in terms of browsers. And let's just look at you can always guarantee you get lots of hits on a search term like that, even if you misspell it. Okay, what we have here is images, and we know that we can do this. Directly from the website, which is absolutely brilliant. So even if you don't have those images on your hard drive, you can drag them, but you'll see you actually get an error. Let's now go into Firefox. Bear in mind, this isn't really supposed to happen. This is just a little fiddle that I found. Let's call up celebrity images. See, not working at all there in Firefox directly. However, I've just recently finished a project where we had to transfer a lot of website images from websites through to a new website. What we can do is we can actually copy the image address, click on there. It doesn't work with the Dropzone, and we can actually paste in the link to that and upload, and you'll find it actually that will upload it from the link as to the website as opposed to the hard drive where you would normally be linking it. Now the site I've just finished, they had something in the region of 10,000 images to be transferred from accommodation websites to their website, obviously with the owner's permission. They obviously didn't want to download the images and then re-upload them, So by using any browser but Firefox, they were able to upload those images by pasting links in rather than actually having to download and re-upload them. Okay, so we're into 55 minutes. This is about where I wanted to be at this stage. Anybody got any questions or anything specific that I can address over the next few minutes? Probably the best way if I can throw it open to questions, and then when everybody's happy, we'll call it a day today, and then we'll do the more complicated database meetings, or bits I should say, next week. Off topic, how do I use a variable in API URL, please? Bit open-ended, that one. You possibly better to put that one out on a forum. Generally, you can use any variable to find the system just by bracketing with curly braces, and it should pick the value up, but it really depends on where that variable's come through from the values, so we'd need a little bit of information on that one. Try that one. Can I ask CompWiz that you pop that onto the forum, because it's probably not an ideal one to address here, but I'm sure we can deal with that on the Wappler forum. Just before I close, on the images side, those of you who haven't been onto the Wappler YouTube zone, then please do. Ben did an absolutely fabulous series of videos on there which are still there, that go into a lot of detail, and I would really recommend that people view them, because there's some really clever tricks and tips and tricks in there. So if everybody's happy with that, then I think we can call it a day. Pop up a shameless plug, as I tend to do. Thanks everybody for joining me. Everything seems to have gone very smoothly. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this, and as always, if you have any specific questions, address them to me via the forum, and I'll do my best to answer them. So have a good week. See you next week, and thank you for viewing. Goodbye.